Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
What's up? My name is Chris Rubio. I'm the host of Decades. We're on the NGBN.TV network, or just NGBN TV network. I don't think you have to say dot anymore. Remember, January 29th, write it down, do what you got to do. January 29th, we're going to have a sneak peek. January 29th, we're going to try to get 10,000 downloads on Amazon Fire Sticks, Roku, all that good stuff. As many devices as you have, all right? See, in my house right now, I think I have like 9 devices, so that's going to be 9 different downloads. So be ready. January 29th, that's a sneak peek on NGBN TV. Welcome to Decades. We've got a great show. Let me introduce the panelists for tonight. We're going to start from the youngest. In their 20s, we've got Charles Wallace Jr. We call him Chalice. He's a 2-time wiffle ball champion, host of From Gridiron to Goalposts, and really into AI blondes in bikinis. What's up, Chalice?
What's up, guys? There should be a big Eagles game this weekend. I'm excited for
it. You seem sad about the Eagles losing.
Oh, I'm devastated, man. Whoever could have seen that coming besides anyone?
Yeah, you saw it from about 5 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Representing our 40s, we've got Charles Schultz. He's from Wooster, Ohio, a 2-time All-American, host of the Edge of Greatness podcast on the NGBN. He's proof that white men can jump, and he was an All-American in baseball, in strength and conditioning. What's up, Charles Schultz?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Excited to be here.
Fantastic. We've got in our 50s, Jim Scarano. Jim is from Ocean City, New Jersey, an avid outdoorsman, father of 2, and a public educator. What's up, Scarano?
How you guys doing? Good to see you. Chalice, I'm feeling your pain with the Eagles. Worst 11-6 team I've ever seen.
Yeah, they went down really fast, like in a heartbeat.
Bricks, yeah.
We're also representing our 50s. We've got Alex Chris. He's originally from the Ukraine, grew up in the USSR. We call him Gru. He lives in LA. He loves his fine beer, and he heads up the Charlie Sheen fan club. What's going on, Gru?
Greetings from California, the only state who managed to lose In-N-Out restaurant.
Yeah, that's amazing. The one in Oakland actually closed down.
Yes.
Not a good thing.
Dave
just said hello from Florida. What's up, Dave? Representing our 60s, we've got the great Bill Geiser. He's an entrepreneur, wearable tech guru, phenomenal swimmer, and then lives in Florida. What's up, Bill Geiser? Where is Bill Geiser? There he is.
Greetings, Decadians. Glad to be here.
And last, but certainly not least, Sub 60 Ed. He's our producer, gaffer, lighter, editor, Rubio handler. What's going on, Sub 60 Ed?
Hello, Mr. Rubio and panel. Excited to be here. Going to be a great show. Another great show.
Once again, I love your shirt. I think it's phenomenal. Okay. No, I'm not that guy. I'm Sub 60 Ed. That's absolutely great. Is that available on the NGBN?
Not yet. No, not yet. We're working on the Sub 60. We're working on the Sub 60 Ed collection. That's
fantastic.
Still to be determined. That will be coming out soon. But I'm glad you said that. The store is open to everybody. We have Decades merch. So if you want to be the first on your block, to be the trendsetter, go out to the NGBN.TV store. Use the code Decades10 for 10% off. Got hats. Might even be able to get a yellow sweatshirt like Rubio wears that says Decades on it. God help you. But hey, So no, go ahead, check it out. Got some good merch on the NGBN website as well and stuff.
We should all get like signature gear. So like mine would be yellow sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Chalice's could be like his what's that? The bandana.
Yeah, that bandana.
Like a swing cap.
Can we get a shield?
Oh, we're getting a shield.
There are discussions going on behind the scenes about shields. We've got it's at the highest level.
We're trying to find something.
It is at the highest levels of shields.
Speaking of locking shields, Sub 60 Ed, didn't we get a nice email that you wanted to talk about?
Yes, we did. And actually, I got to give out Chalice Jr. shout out. It was one of his buddies, Tim McCall, sent us a great email telling us about how much he loves the show and how much it has impacted him. And it was really great, Tim, to hear you doing that. And what was really exciting is that we have kind of helped him spur him on to do basically what is called Out of the Darkness. It's an overnight walk for suicide prevention. And really, that's what we're kind of all here for, is to kind of bring that awareness to suicide and stuff. And I know Tim had somebody close to him, with some issues and so on. So he shared that with us. Tim, that's great. We're here to support you. I have I'll run some information for Tim to support Tim and so on. And, do what you guys can.
Fantastic. So Subject Ed's going to run that at the very bottom. If you guys have any email questions, I'm sure he'll have the emails down at the bottom as well. Rubio@therubiomethod.com or ngbntved@gmail.com. That's enough of the ins and outs. Let's get to the first topic. Number one, panelists, Decadians, full staff layoffs at Sports Illustrated. What the hell happened? This was one of the best magazines I remember growing up. It got me to read, and I wasn't that big of a reader, but it was every Wednesday I got it, and it was boom, I'd get it, and I would read it cover to cover. It was absolutely fantastic. And then as soon as you get the teen years, I think it was late 80s, early 90s, they threw out the the swimsuit issue, and holy Jesus, that was the best thing ever invented. Every guy watching this was going, oh my gosh. Yes, it was. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. Nothing. It's gone. Like literally, on Friday, I think it was Friday, they emailed every single employee and says, you're all laid off. Bill Geiser, assuming you've read this before. What's happening here?
I think there's a kind of a common theme being discussed about Sports Illustrated went woke and now they've gone broke. I don't believe that's what drove them out of business. I think what's happening is that there's just tremendous disruption going on in media. Things are moving from print to streaming, and they're just one of a number of casualties. I mean, look at how thick the weekly newspapers used to be, and today you can't even find them. Magazines are dropping like flies. We're going to an online digital world, and they didn't keep up with the times, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And someone I think Gloria Scarano just asked, where's AC? AC was supposed to be on the show tonight. He was traveling from UCLA to Long Beach, his home. I think it's like 11 miles. And he's been on the road for 2.5 hours. So well done to California. Okay, so AC is going to try to jump on the show if he can get home. But Subject Ed, can you put up that picture that I sent you to your email, if you still have it? So Bill, on your point, this was from the Babylon Bee. Okay, this is the heads of Sports Illustrated allegedly, thinking about what went wrong. And go ahead, bring it back, Sub-60, where the picture on the left is a bigger girl, we'll just say. Not obese or anything like that, but just about, let's say, my size. And none of you better call me obese. But I don't want to see myself in a bikini or whatever you call it, okay? I don't want to see that. And then the one on the right, that's a transgender girl. So that was a dude who became a girl. And so this was like 3 to 4 years ago, they started doing this. And I think that kind of led into, like we were talking about, Bill, the go woke, go broke. But then I also 100% agree with the tech part of it. Charles Jr., what's your thoughts?
Well, I think I agree with both points. I think, the world is increasingly online. And if you don't get with the times, you're going to get left behind. And who needs Sports Illustrated when you can just watch Gridiron the Goalpost? We just taking names day and night, week after week. And to go off of what you said, Rubio, at Gridiron the Goalpost, all of the chicks don't have dicks. So I think it's just very much so, it's.
Yeah, and Tom Coleman says, go woke, go broke. And like Bill Geiser was talking about the newspapers. If you're reading the newspaper, you've missed a whole news cycle, if not two, because if you're on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, you're getting your news literally like that. And the fact, even if you waited around to like the 6 o'clock news to watch, which I don't know anyone that does that, you're still missing out on so much. Charles Schultz, what's your thoughts on this?
I don't know if I agree that it's the go woke, go broke completely. I mean, if you stopped reading Sports Illustrated because the swimsuit issue went in the wrong direction, I don't think you were reading Sports Illustrated. You were tuning in for those few issues that came out. But I do think that we're seeing what happens when you have a very large, successful company get bought out or sold themselves to another group, and that group doesn't know how to manage what was built.
Mhm.
That company was built under that other management. You get a whole new group in there, and they all want to kind of put their stamp on something that's already working, and you blow it up, you mess it up, you put it in the wrong direction. I do agree that we are changing as far as how we consume our media. So there is a lot of that, but I still think that, you know, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I dreamed of being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That's part of like when I was playing sports, that was I want to be on the cover. I want to be like Mike, you know, I want to have a special issue like Muhammad Ali. Like those are things that I dreamed of. And I still think kids would do that if they put it out there the right way. I think that the management group is more to blame than the content itself. Although they might be responsible for why the content went that way.
Yeah, David Bazinet says the only thing that kept the magazine afloat was their swimsuit issue, and then when they went woke, they went broke, so now they're done. I mean, it seems like it's such an I don't know if you guys saw the little rant by Clay Travis from Outkick. He's talking about he's going to possibly buy it. He goes, it's the easiest thing. Just put out sports and hot chicks. Like, it's not a tricky one. Bill Geiser, I know he already called you, but what do you always say? Don't let, there's that one thing you say about the company. Don't become a verb or something?
Well, yeah. I mean, what they did was they Bud Lighted themselves, and you know, the first one that does that stuff becomes the verb, and so that won't be the fate of Sports Illustrated. That's an honor that Bud Light has earned on their own.
Speaking of Bud Light, Gru, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's also like somebody said, they went kind of behind the times, and they remind me of a Thomas Guide. It used to be those big maps, you know, like book maps, and then eventually when everything went digital and then went to GPS, Thomas Guide died because they couldn't keep up with the progress, you know. I think that's one of the issues.
Gru, are Thomas Guides only in California? Because I was talking to someone in Idaho about that, and they had no idea. Bill Geiser, did you have Thomas Guides out where you lived in the Midwest? Well,
I mean, we had maps.
Okay, no. Thomas Guide was like a massive book, and you
I
would say
think
like,
I
I got to go to Thomas Wallace's house at page 47, and it would go to H6.
I think the
that was
company was
before my
actually based
time.
in Chicago. You know, like they had like 200 employees, and then they all basically got laid off once they couldn't keep up with technology. You know, well, you know, no one was buying those huge books once the software came, and then GPS and etc. You know, so they.
Gru, you're
lost
getting
out.
very fired up on the Thomas Guide issue because your accent gets thicker, and I love it. I'm just giving you a heads up. When you get fired
All right.
up,
We're heading in Charlie Sheen territory.
yeah, we're entering Charlie.
Yeah.
I didn't know it's Charlie Sheen Thomas Guide for Gru. Jesus.
Yes.
Okay, Jim Scrotta, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, there's another old adage like if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I don't know how they kind of screwed it up. But personally, I can't remember the last time I bought a magazine, and I'm not sure how a lot of these companies continue to stay in business. I think it's more a sign of the times that we are in a digital world, and people get, like, you know, Charles said, we get our media, we consume our media differently. So, but I think there is something to be said. I did do a little bit of reading that there was a buyout, or they were purchased by another company, and yeah, I think they tried to reinvent the wheel, and they should have just kept it the way it was. I think that, you know, between being on the covers and the swimsuit issues, you know, that alone ought to keep some viewers, I would think.
Yeah, I remember growing up, even in Little League, one of the options was your mom could get a little pin, and then you could also be put on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Right.
And it was, you know, that was the thing. And I think they did it at Universal Studios and Disneyland as well. But it's just a sad thing that the next generation will not have those. By show of hands, has anyone bought a magazine in the last, let's say, 6 months? Wow.
I had a subscription. I didn't buy
me
one.
too.
Like I
Okay,
have
you
some
had a
sent to the house.
Sports Illustrated?
No.
Oh, God. Okay.
Home and Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. When was the last time anyone bought a Sports Illustrated? Within a year? Anyone within a year? That I did for me, but selfishly, humble brag, I was in the magazine, so that's no big deal. That's neither here nor there. See that long way for me to get to that sub 60, Ed. On that note, sub 60, let's get into a commercial. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's up with people identifying as animals. Sub 60, take us out of here.
You have been watching Decades, a show on the NGBN.TV network.
Today's tip explains how to find your Wi-Fi password in both Windows and Mac OS. To find your Wi-Fi password in Windows, go to Network and Sharing Center, right-click on the Wi-Fi network connection icon, Wireless Properties. Click on Show Characters box to show your Wi-Fi password. In macOS, all passwords are stored in a Keychain app. Use Spotlight to find Keychain access, open the app and find your Wi-Fi network's name in the list of saved credentials. Double-click on it and then click the box to show your password. It will require your OS level password. This tip is brought to you by Alex on Tech.
Welcome back to Decades. Take it away, Rubio.
Gru, that was a pretty good one, but I want more visuals because I'm a visual guy. And if I don't have the visuals, I'm not going to see it. That's why I need to see it.
Okay.
Sub-68, why are you on?
Hey, I just wanted to show you while we were commercial, we had some people chiming in about the magazines, and I wanted to share with you their thoughts.
Okay.
So we got Guy. We got Guy here. He's saying he bought a magazine yesterday, and it had Paul McCartney on the cover.
So Rolling Stone, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Or ARP?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. And then here's our main man on the road on the 405.
Yeah, AC, never bought a single, but great show, guys. Thank you. And also, remember, everyone that's watching, I want you to start making little tally marks on who you think should be the winner.
Right.
Who should be the overall winner tonight. And if you guys have a topic that you want us to cover, because we've got 4 that I've already talked about. But if you're just like, hey, I want to talk about how the Barbie movie was supposed to be pro-feminist and the only person that got nominated, Charles Jr.'s got a shirt on. The only person that got nominated was actually Ryan Gosling Jr., who was a liability at cornerback. But we could talk about that as well. It doesn't matter to me at all. But let's talk about our next one. What's up with people identifying as animals? For those that don't know, they're called furries. And I know they have these conventions and all that, but it's trickling down into schools where I've actually read and I've known, or all of a sudden, Groot identifies as a cat. And they maybe wear a tail, put on their little ear things. And in the bathroom, the school will literally have to put a litter box to where, I don't know if he actually uses the litter box, but they have to be able to put one there for them. And they can eat and drink out of like their little bowls and stuff like that. Charles Jr., you have the weirdest smirk on your face right now. What is your thoughts on this?
Oh man, it's just I didn't have anybody like that in my generation, so I think it just missed me. But I think if we did have kids like that, we would have had some fun with them.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those where you're like, what? You can't tiptoe around that one. Charles Schultz, you had another reaction on your face.
Yeah, I think we've got to stop letting kids live life through their emotions and feelings, and actually just be like, look, you're not a cat, you're not an animal. It's cool if you want to go bark at the squirrel outside when you're at home by yourself and be weird and dig in the dirt, and like being a weird kid is cool. That's fine. You can be a weird kid, as long as it doesn't turn into your reality. That's where the problem lies, is like we're feeding this craziness, and then it's leading us into a path of later mental problems that goes beyond already thinking that you're an animal, because eventually you're going to have to be in the real world and nobody's going to take you serious. You're going to end up with some sort of depression, and that's going to just feed into one of the things that we're trying to fight against, which is suicide. Because let's be honest, you don't belong if you think that you're not a human being.
Well, 100%. And we just got a message from my favorite New Zealanders. They were saying this world is nuts and crazy. That must be only in California. No, it's not. I've heard about it in Idaho, David Bazinet. As a teacher, if I had to address a student as an animal, I'm leaving the education field. A Facebook user says that. Yeah, I mean, I used to be a teacher. AC says, preach, Chuck. Parents need to put their foot down. That was when my next thought is, Bill Geiser, where are the parents? Because I can only imagine if Jack came up to you and said, hey, Dad, I'm a cat now.
Yeah, that would be a one-way conversation. I can guarantee it. And the cat's not going to win that one. I don't know where the parents are. The parents need to just sort of actually become parents. You know, that's their job. They have a job to do, and they let these kids who are emotionally distraught, maybe they're mentally distraught. I don't know what it is, but I just wouldn't tolerate it. And the school shouldn't tolerate it. And
I got you. And
That's all I
Cindy
gotta say
Standard just came on and said exactly suicide in the making. It's one of those things where parents, you need to stop trying to be your kid's friend. You need to be a parent. And you nip that in the bud literally 1 second. If my kid came to me and said that, I'd say, okay, you're a cat. Good. Cats don't need clothes. Take off all your clothes. Also, here's some cat food. Enjoy dinner. That's what you're getting. That problem solved in half a second. Facebook user says, unfortunately, our society has given children more power than parents and adults. And the parents and adults have become sissies where they're not afraid. They don't have enough courage to do anything. Okay. If it's it's up here too in Canada. Nana Mona says, my dad will kick my ass. Yeah. Charles Schultz, sorry for the waiting.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add in there that, you talked about the parents, where are they? And that's, I think, part of the reason why we're seeing all of these things is that kids crave attention. They want to be seen, and they know that this is going to let them be seen, because now you're going to stand out. And whether it's a weird way, a bad way, or whatever, that's what they're going for. And by letting them do this, it just turns into even a bigger mess.
Yeah, they want attention. They want someone, please look at me. Maybe mommy and daddy aren't home. They're a latchkey kid. They don't have any friends. They're a dork, whatever. And all of a sudden, this gives them some attention, even if it's bad attention. They don't care. Jim Scarano?
Charles, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm there every day in the schools, and every kid wants some form of attention, and they all kind of seek it in their own ways. I will say there is a little bit of a distinction from what I've been told between people that identify as an animal and furries. Furries are more interested in dressing up as an animal and kind of like playing a role temporarily, and then they go back to being a person. Whereas there are individuals that, now, either way, they're both not good. I mean, in my opinion, if we have Halloween once a year, that should be enough for you. You don't have to dress up as a cat every other week or whatever. But they struggle with their identity. They're not getting good guidance at home or any kind of guidance.
I was going to say any guidance.
I think there's parents that actually have no idea that some of this stuff goes on. The kid is smart enough to maybe hide it from mom or dad or whoever's in charge. And, they go off and play this role at school. And they all want to be noticed. They all want to be noticed. And some of them go to great extremes. It's ludicrous. Yeah, and
Dave Bradley commented from I think he's in Ohio right now, said it's demonic. Someone said it's demonic. It's only going to go one way. That's on top of what is common denominator of comments. And then we had another person say, you're going to be a stray and get the F out of my house, meow, from Facebook user. That's a good one. Alex, Chris, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think schools should not allow that kind of stuff, because if schools allow it, then if parents try to discipline the kids would say, hey, schools allow it, I can have my cat litter and my cat food, and you cannot punish me because I'm okay and school likes it and I'm allowed to do that stuff,
Are teachers even allowed to? I mean, because I used to be a teacher. I was a sixth grade teacher for 8 years. If some dude came in and all of a sudden Charles Jr. is this quote unquote normal kid, and the next day he's got St. Bernard ears and a tail, I'm pretty sure I would call the mom or dad and say, you guys know that Charles Jr. thinks he's a St. Bernard now. Are they allowed to call anymore? Does anyone know? Jim, are you allowed to call?
Oh, you can call parents for anything. I mean, I stay in communication with my parents all the time. Unfortunately, I have not seen it, direct examples of any of our students trying to portray themselves as an animal. Kids have confided with me in private that they are furries, and act that part out. I haven't seen it inside of our school, fortunately, but I know it exists.
As a teacher in Virginia, I haven't seen a student be classified as an animal. Well, that's good. I mean, I know it's happening out here. I think it's all the way down into like 6th grade. I've heard of it, and it's just weird. And the teachers can't do anything about it. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I will say another topic that kind of ties into it is, a lot of our students are confused and always exploring, what their sexual identity is or their sexual gender. And, I've seen it where they flip-flop back and forth, where one day they're straight, next day they're gay, a week later they're bi. And again, I think, like Charles said, it's all for attention. It's all for attention.
Yeah, and not to get into another topic, that's all social media driven. I mean, Charles, you're the youngest here. You were in high school 8 years ago. Did you know anyone that went straight to bi? No, it was either, I'm assuming that wasn't an issue 8 years ago.
No,
Yeah,
there were
and
the
not-
straight people, and there were the people who didn't get girls.
Yeah. On that note, let's go to another commercial sub 68. When we come back, we're going to talk about should all presidents get immunity? Ooh, this could be a good one.
You have been watching Decades, a show on the NGBN.TV network.
This is NGBN TV, a network for men and home to top experts, speakers, authors, and more. Streaming TV for men, created by men.
But why?
Why are we a network that inspires,
Educates, entertains, celebrates, and supports
men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, simply to save men's lives.
There is an epidemic in our community.
and it's taking men from us?
I'm talking about mental health and suicide.
But we have an answer, and it's streaming, live shows, sports, concerts, and more.
In a real way for men to lock shields.
We can't wait to launch this TV network for you and with you.
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 Join our movement at ngbn.tv, coming January 2024.
Back to Decades. Take it away, Rubio.
I'm locking shields.
What did they give you too small of a helmet, or has your head gotten that bigger?
In college, and I can't get
Good
this
Lord.
damn helmet on. I don't know what happened.
Hold on, we had a couple trailing comments as we went to commercial. I want to make sure we share to close out that last segment.
Okay,
So we
got that one. Oh, my wife's been teaching for 27
Yes.
years, not happened here in Florida. That's good.
We got a little up. Hold on, got Guy there.
Social engineering from Guy can't beat the U.S. with brute force use psychology to decimate their society from within. Yeah, that's a good one. All falls into the mental health pandemic. 100% Cindy Standard, and make sure you drive safe on the way to Yakima. But that's
That's it.
100%. Charles, are you adjusting something, or do you want to say something?
No, I'm adjusting something.
Okay. So next one. Should all presidents get immunity? I have my thoughts, but I'm going to go to Bill Geiser first. Should all presidents get immunity?
You know, when I saw this subject come up, I realized I really don't know what the practice is. And I spent a little time researching. It looks like presidents and other government officials, this includes local officials as well, have some immunity, absolute immunity on civil matters. But criminal matters, I think, are a different thing. So should they be criminally, if they commit a crime, if they kill somebody, should they be immune? I don't think so. I think in civil matters where presidents and government officials are making decisions that may impact lives in ways that people don't like, they should not be held liable for that.
And was that during what you read? Was it during when they were in office and out of office, or just in?
In office for their actions in office.
Okay, Charles Schultz, what's your thoughts on this?
No, I think I agree with Bill. As if you commit like a serious crime, there's a punishment to that. However, what we don't need is our president being tied up in a bunch of civil suits that have whoever being upset with them, trying to get attention or trying to get money or trying to drag them through the mud in some kind of way. Those should be maybe not completely immunity, but maybe it's this goes on the docket, and in 4 years, if he doesn't get reelected, then we'll take care of this. It just draws it back, because the last thing you need is them tied up in some type of civil case when they need to be making decisions. So anything else,
It'd almost be like, getting a president for, while he's running for president as well.
Hey,
Right?
Rubio, I want to just say something of what Charles just said. It reminds me, I believe in Britain, if you bring a lawsuit against somebody and lose, you pay not only your end, their end as well.
They
That's
should.
not the case in the U.S.
No, they should do that. They should have done that with like the Duke
and
lacrosse
just milk
team.
you dry, even if you win, I don't have to reimburse you. I think if we balance that scale, who pays for these frivolous suits, I think we'd have a hell of a lot less of them.
I think the 100% should do that. The Duke lacrosse team, they got accused. And who is that pitcher?
Good example.
The pitcher for the baseball, just
Bauer.
Yeah.
yeah. He got completely screwed, and then he came out after, and nothing happens to her. I mean, he had to go play in, I think, Japan for a year or two, and he was an absolute stud. Charles, sub 68. Can you pull up Sydney Standard's comment again? That was a really good one. None should be immune, but none should be targeted for political purposes either. Yeah, I mean, it would hard to say that El Trumpo is not being targeted right now with just the constant, where Mar-a-Lago's only worth $5 million when it's, the next door neighbor's house, which is a third of the size, is worth like $87 million. It's like, come on, this is stupid. Charles Jr., what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far. I think, if you commit a serious crime, if you kill someone, something to that effect, there shouldn't be immunity. But I do think, especially nowadays, we're seeing a ton of people that are being targeted for political purposes, and that they're just trying to get tied up in all these, lawsuits just to kind of derail them on their road to try and, gain power in politics. So I do agree with Bill 100%. I think if we would start imposing some penalties on people who bring these types of suits about, we would see a lot less of them, kind of like an all or nothing deal. Like, all right, you want to bring this civil suit. Okay. All in, both parties' chips are all in. Whoever loses has to pay.
I like that. I like that a lot. Can you pull up Jenna's comment? I agree with Bill. The defendant didn't ask for it, so why get quote unquote punished for defending themselves? Yeah. And the problem is like that the Bauer pitcher, I mean, his name was run through the mud for a year or two, and he's no longer his career. I mean, how many of those Duke lacrosse players got completely screwed? I mean, that's just not a good look. Jim Scarano, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of going back and forth between the question of should presidents, gain full immunity, and I'm assuming El Trumpo would be in full favor of that. But no, I don't think that would be a good thing, because anybody that, especially someone like him, who has that in the back of his head that he is sort of above the law, so to speak, probably not a good thing. But in reference to the civil suits, like, not only is it changing people's lives forever, like you can't turn that around. Like, even if you, like Bill's idea of putting that in place where they are paid punitive damages or whatever, sometimes reputations and things like that, you can't turn that around. Like, it's the damage is overwhelming to certain people. But in reference to the presidents, no, not full immunity. No,
I think there needs to be more common sense with it as well. Like Charles Schultz was saying, okay, we can table this for until he's done with his presidency or she's done with her presidency. But then when you're running for office and just they're throwing this and this and this, and some of them are just so stupid. Right. Like I keep bringing up the Mar-a-Lago one. Like, how much is it worth? Well, everyone's got to get your house appraised. Like, why aren't they yelling at the appraiser? I don't understand. Like, why is this gone past minute one of the courts? Like, it's just stupid to me. Gru?
Well, I think, for example, it should not be a full immunity because, for example, if current president, such as Biden, let the borders be open and then fentanyl scamming and some criminal scamming and killing people, he would need to be responsible for some of it. When he is no longer president, somebody should be able to, bring it to got raped or killed by somebody who's here illegally. It should be some kind of a course of action.
Yeah, I agree, and it's just one of those things. If you're going to go tick for tack, I mean, because you could do Joey B on the border right now, where the feds have told Texas, no, you can't put up barbed wire, and Texas is putting up barbed wire, and then the feds are coming to cut it down. Like, I just need someone to explain that one to me. Charles Wallace, do you have any idea what's happening there?
Why we can't have barbed wire at the border?
Yeah.
Because we're pussies.
Okay. Charles Walsh, the press secretary. On that note, let's take us to our final commercial, and then we're going to come back. And if you could come back in time, which one would it be and why? And don't forget, you can chime in on who do you think is the best panelist tonight.
You have been watching Decades, a show on the NGBN.TV network.
Attention, gentlemen of distinction. Introducing NGBN.TV, the television network designed exclusively for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Your go-to destination for entertainment that speaks to you, inspires you, and celebrates the incredible journey of manhood. And here's the exciting news. NGBN.TV is coming to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and your favorite mobile devices. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, seeking self-improvement, or just looking for a good laugh, NGBN.TV has got you covered. Entertainment, inspiration, brotherhood. Coming soon to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and mobile devices. NGBN.TV, where men thrive.
Back to Decades. Take it away, Rubio.
January 29th, January 29th, January 29th. Do not forget, we want to have 10,000 downloads of the NGBN TV app. We all got shows on there. Don't forget tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific time, you got AC Sports Live, followed at 10 by The Ride with Chevy and Nasty. Those are going to be 2 hours of great, great shows. Substitute, why are you back on again?
Because you know how I love if something comes in through the commercials there, Rubio, I want to make sure we close out the subject matter. I want to make sure I got one more coming in here. So
who was your choice? Oh, that's you wrote that.
That's me. No, that's the wrong one. That's
Supreme Court struck the barbed wire down, and they're conservative AF. I would not say they're conservative as AF. You don't know what that means. You can figure it out. But definitely 3 of them are definitely not. I would say they conservative lean right now, yes, but I would say definitely not. I mean, the fact that the vote was originally 5-4 is just insane. I just don't understand why you can't protect your own house. It doesn't make sense. All right, last question for the panelists. If you could come back in a time period, which one would it be and why? Gru, I'm going to start with you because you had some tech difficulties last time. Gru, wake up.
In a time period, well, I would like to come in like in late 60s, early 70s with all the classic rock, when it was basically popular and stuff, like The Doors, and all that, Beatles and the Animals and everybody else, it would be nice to see him play live.
Okay, so how old would you want to be in the 60s? Like 18?
I would want to be in my 20s.
Okay, 21 legal. Okay, I got you. Jim Scarano, same question.
I love this question. I like to talk about this. So I would go back in time pre the white man, and I would live in North America as a Native American, and I would hunt and fish and live in a community. Not that life would be easy, because it wasn't easy, but I could do without, the monetary system, and I could do without politics, definitely one of my least favorite topics. And I just like that idea of community living and sharing and helping each other. And, I know there was tiffs and conflicts between tribes and that sort of thing, and there was territorial battles, but that's when I would go back. I would go back and
that's a rough life, though, man. I don't know if you guys watched that show. Was it 1833 or 1883?
That was.
But I'm saying, like, my wife didn't like that show because she's like, "Did they ever have a good day?" And I go, "That's what you had to survive, man." Like, literally, I think one lady took a dump and died because a snake bit her. Like, that's the kind of thing you got going here.
Yeah.
Cindy Standard says 1800s when cowboys were real cowboys. Someone says during the Viking time. Jesus. Okay. Is a Viking a nationality, or is that a job, or like how do you become a Viking? You're just good on a ship and you're Norwegian.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know, Bill Geiser.
You win the axe fight.
Yeah, axe fight. Yeah, Bill Geiser. What's your thoughts?
Well, I thought long and hard about this one. I'm a creature of comfort, so I want to go back to a time when there's air conditioning and air travel. And then I took a look at certain events that I thought would be pretty interesting to have known about in advance. And I picked the date August 18th, 2004. I'd like to go back to that date with a fistful of dollars and buy as much Google stock as I could, because they went public on the 19th.
Okay,
That's
so
my answer.
you got Jim's becoming a Native American. You're going as a time traveling gambler. So Charles Jr. probably
No.
on that
Time
one.
traveling investor. I'm an
Oh, investor. Excuse me. I think
Yeah.
Charles, are you an investor as well? Is that what you do?
You know, if it depends who asks. You know, if I'm talking to the fellas, then yeah. If I'm talking to the fellas, I'm a gambler. If I'm trying to win over a lady, I'm an investor.
Okay. Not Amona says yes. Alex, peace, love, and rock and roll. So Charles, we'll go to you then. What's your answer for this?
Yep.
Gloria Serrano says the 60s. So Serrano, your sister or wife, she's out with you.
Yeah, you know, I would go back. All I've ever known is technology, so I don't want to go back too far. So I think I would just want to go back to a time when chicks didn't have dicks. That would work for me. And me and Gru will agree on this one, similar to Bill. Gru, I think me and you could go back to the day before Leicester's Premier League winning title charge started and place a nice handful of cash on them to win it all, and we'd be set.
See, my assumption was you wouldn't have known
agree.
the history. Like, you wouldn't have known what happened afterwards, Bill Guy.
You're arguing your own point because you said you wanted to go have peace, love on the Native American reservations. How do you know you're not walking into all of a sudden all hell break loose? There's a fight between the Comanches and the Apaches or something like that. You can't. If they're going to pick a time, Jim, you can pick a time.
You're right.
I have to say, Jim, that was a very violent time, by the way.
Yeah, man, I've seen Dance with the Wolves. I've seen 1883. All hell
White men
breaking
in
loose.
Dances with the Wolves. Before that.
You look at you do some research on those tribes. They're beating the hell out of each other.
The white
They're
man
not.
didn't invent war.
Yeah, I mean, I think go back to
beating each
David
other.
Bazinet, Sub 68. He had what about WW2? I think David Bazinet from Florida. I'd like to have experienced what it would be like to live during the World War II days. You'd be a stud. That's not an easy one. Charles Schultz, what's your thoughts on this?
So I want a couple clarifying questions first. Am I going back and being born in an era and then having to live through it all? Because that would affect what I would choose. Do I get to leave and then come back if I want? If I'm like experienced enough and like, this is good, I can come home now? Or is it I'm staying there till I die? Like, because all of that kind of affects like what I would choose in this situation.
Okay, being the host, and I did not come up with this question, but being the host, I'm going to go with, since Jim just threw all the rules out, I'm going to say that you go and you're going to have to live through that time from there, that point on. So he's going to have to be on the reservation, and you know what? All hell's breaking loose. You're there, man. He's bought that.
Okay. Because then I'm not choosing the 20s because I don't want to go to World War II. I don't want to experience that. That was too much. But the 20s would have been cool. I don't want to deal with the Depression, so that's a no. I think for me, I'd want to be part of the exploration age where we started to take off from Europe, go and see the world. People are getting on ships and seeing what's out there because those people's names live forever. And you have a chance to
wipe me out. Go ahead.
You have a chance to be something that survives all of history when you do great things before. Like this age, I don't know. Everything's been done. It's hard to get to that point. I think that would be a neat thing to have an opportunity to do something nobody's ever done before.
That's a good one. There was dry fins. Nanamona says, classic Nanamona. Sub 68, why are you on again?
Because I want to throw my 2 cents in.
Okay.
I got to throw my 2 cents in. Well, first of all, I don't know if I really want to go back because being a sub 60 prior to, let's say I grew up in the 80s, probably if we start going back in time, it's probably much harder for sub 60s to be sub 60.
I disagree. The dude on Game of Thrones was like a legend.
Yeah.
That was real.
That's called TV. That's called TV, Rubio. Didn't they teach that at UCLA?
Jim's
It's
making
TV.
the
It's
rules.
fake.
I'm going by him. We can all start doing.
But if I had my choice, I think it was David or somebody, whoever, the Vikings. I want to be a Viking. Yeah.
See?
Yeah, with a big axe.
Okay,
You know,
hold on.
big old axe.
Hold
Big
on.
old axe and
Okay,
thing.
you're
Yes.
lying for me.
Yeah.
Are you a sub 60 Viking?
Yes. Sub 60 Viking.
Okay, how big of an axe are you carrying, man?
I'm carrying. Don't you ever watch Lord of the Rings? I'll be like Gimli. Watch Lord of the Rings.
Or fiction.
I went on dates.
So did I.
No, I did not watch Lord of the Rings.
Watch
I
it.
have 9 hours to watch one movie.
Yes, you do. You don't do anything during the day. You talk to me.
Okay, back to now. Thank you, Rubio. We'll come back to me. Here's what my 2 thoughts are. I have 2 that I would choose. One, I would go all the way back and I would talk to Mr. Jesus and I would say, hey, is this a real thing here? Like, do you know that people are going to talk about you for the rest of your life? Are you really that dude or what? That'd be number 1. Number 2, not necessarily in orders. I would go where I'd be about 22, 23, right like 81, 82, 83. Because the 80s were a sweet spot. They had a good time. They could do whatever they want. There was no racism. At least I wasn't seeing it. People were out doing whatever they wanted. They had a great time. The Lakers were fantastic. The Bears even did well, Bill Geiser. And it was just a good time. It seemed like everyone was kind of pro-America. And it was a good time. It seemed like everyone was having a blast in the 80s. I was a little younger throughout the 80s, so I went through it, but I wasn't like party age. I would want to be like in the clubs, doing what you got to do, having a good time. I think that would be fine for Charles Jr. Go ahead, Jim. Did I break the rules, Jim?
No, not at all. I have a question. So you're going to go back and ask Jesus, are you really that dude?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Jesus, are you that dude? Do you realize are you really that guy? And that people are going to be talking about you forever. Like, are you just some guy or are you that guy? And see what he says.
Yeah, I assumed you didn't know the post future things already. Like if you go back, you have no knowledge of what happens from that time going forward. That's the way I took the question.
Well, no, because you guys are all messing the rules up. You mess it up with your thing.
Wow, it's the rules are just
money.
The rules are
I'm playing the game, the cards that are dealt to me, whatever Charles Jr. does at the gambling. Okay. Sub 60 Ed.
Yes.
Did everyone pick a winner? Or are you picking the winner? What's going on here?
No, there were votes coming in. As you saw, I sent a message out. It's actually based on what came in. It's a tie.
Charles Schultz.
2 and 2.
Okay.
The tie goes with Charles Schultz and Mr. Bill Geiser are our winners. They both had 2 votes.
Okay. Well, no, we're in America. There's no ties
I'm going to
here.
put my Viking cap on for
Yes,
this.
put the Viking cap on with the locking shields.
No. There's no ties. There's no ties in Decadia.
Yeah, there's ties. It's just like there's no pride in baseball.
You got to pick the winner. You have to pick the winner, Sub 60 Ed. You have to pick of those 2.
All right, it's going to Charles then. Got to go to Charles.
Oh,
Charles
I'm taking
Schultz
my Viking cap off.
Unlock the shield.
Shield's unlocked.
No one's
He's
allowed
throwing
to
it around.
It's unlocked.
All right, for all the guys here, you guys had a great discussion. January 29th. Do not forget January 29th. Also go to the NGBN store. You can use Decades 10 for 10% off. Make sure you check out Gridirons, The Goalpost, The Rubio Method, Decades. Charles Schultz, the name of your show, Edge of Greatness. Okay.
Edge of Greatness.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All those shows are on NGBN. Sub 60 Ed, what you're leaning in, what do you want to say? I can tell you want to talk.
No, we have to I'm just getting ready to. I'm waiting for you to stop, and so we can do our little cheers and.
All right. Yeah,
I'm just doing my thing, man. Great episode,
Cheers,
guys. Thank you to everybody who joined us on all the streams. All right, we are out.
Cheers. Peace out.
Thanks for watching Decades on the NGBN.TV network. Be sure to